Hey guys, welcome to the first ever Fusion 360 tutorial on this channel. I'm Andrew. Thank you for joining me. Let's get right into it. So we'll be talking about how to set up your design and simple sketches that will be the building blocks for your projects. So the first thing you're going to need is definitely a mouse, as a touchpad is limited and it's kind of hard to control it with your fingers, and mouses are just better. So the next thing you're going to do is whenever you start a project, go over to Data Panel and click New Project and then title it with whatever you are building or designing. For the sake of this video, I already created one named Demo. And once you click it and have this opened up, everything on the right side, after we click the Save button, will be saved into this folder. So we can just close that out and we can get started. So first thing to take note is units. The units that your design will be based off of. So you can, by clicking this, you can switch it to inches, millimeters, etc. Just make sure to keep those consistent between real life measurements and the measurements you make on the software. You can always change it later. So, for example, if I make everything in inches and I want it all in centimeters, I can just click that and it'll convert everything. So that's pretty neat. So let's create a sketch. So just go to Sketch and then click Create Sketch. And you get to choose what plane to design on, either the x-axis, the y-axis, or the z-axis. It's all relative, really, but I like to choose the bottom, as if you look at the top right of the corner, it says top. So we're looking at a top-down view of whatever you're designing, so this is equivalent to the floor. So that just kind of gives us perspective as you design. The most simple sketch you can do is a line, and basically you just click once and then you can set a distance. So I want this to be 1 inches. You just type it in on your keyboard and say I'm satisfied with that. You can just press enter. You can also set the angle on the switch. All you have to do is press the tab key, and then you can type in and then press tab to lock it, and then once you're satisfied, just press enter. And simple as that. And that's how you create a line. You can draw them from any 2 points. Next, we're going to talk about rectangles. And rectangles, they're 2-point and 3-point and a center rectangle. A 2-point rectangle is very simple. You start at 1 point and you go to another point, and you can set both length and width at the same time. Set which one your preferred length, and then just press enter. The next one is a 3-point rectangle, in which first you set the length, and then you set the width. Basically just 3 points. 1, 2, 3. That's it. And then for a center point rectangle, very simple. Instead of starting at a corner, though, however, you start at the center, and you set both the length and the width at the same time. So just keep that in mind. So next we'll take a look at circles, but before that I'd like to explain that your sketches are held right here under the sketches little tab right here, and if you double click it, you can actually title the sketch, so you can keep track of your sketches. And say you want to go back and edit something, you name it like body 2. It might not be helpful if you name it like, I don't know, frame, frame for your cart or whatever you're making. So changing that wording is very useful, and my recorder's kind of in the way, but your timeline is down here, and the timeline keeps track of everything you make or design in this little place right here. So later you'll make 3D models, and those will all be saved here. So if you ever want to go back in time, like you messed up something, you just pop that boy back. This guy. I only have one thing, so it doesn't really work, but that's how you keep track of everything that you've done. All right, let's start with circles. So, circles, there are 5 you need to know. I need this rectangle to help with the demo. But there are center diameter circles, 2-point, 3-point, 2 tangent, and 3 tangent circles. The center point circle is very easy, very simple. Basically, you set from the center the diameter of the circle. Pretty simple, especially if you're doing anything, like making a hole or something like that. That's very helpful. Then you've got a 2-point circle, which instead of from the center point defining the circle, you define it by the 2 endpoints. So, or the points straight across from each other. So that might help with like positioning the circle. 3-point circle is a little hard. The first 2 points don't set the diameter for the circle, but the third point does. So I can just I want one that would be 3 inches. So the first 2 are kind of like constraints for the circle. So it's a little hard, especially to use. I need that rectangle. And then the other 2 are 2 tangent and 3 tangent circles. So 2 tangent circles needs 2 tangent lines to refer to. So it needs like a side or a line. So for instance, if I click the right in the top of this, it's going to create a circle that's tangent to both of those. So, that's really useful. And for the 3 tangent circle, I just need 3 sides and it'll create a circle already. So that's pretty sick. Next is arcs. Arcs are pretty easy. So if I just put 1 point here and set a distance and another point, I can then create an arc. So that's pretty sick. So that's simple one. The more the one I love is the center point arc, where you define the center, and you this is kind of like a radius, but say I want like 1 inch. It will put an arc 1 inch from the center point, and you can make the arc full. You can make it go 365 degrees. So that might be a little more useful than this, but if you want like a weird shape, then you'd use the other one. And then the last one's a tangent arc, which again you need a side, actually rather like a corner. But once you do that, it'll make a line or an arc that is completely flush with the rectangle, and it'll go up. So that's useful. I'll tell you that. So let's see. Next is polygons. Polygons are pretty simple. Really, really easy. Let's go over here. So this one's circumscribed, which means that the sides, the distance between, or the distance you put in is the distance between the center point and one of the sides. So 1 inch is between the center and the side. So, and then if you press tab, you can select what polygon you want, like, a square, a pentagon, a hexagon. So, right? Whatever. So that, that's pretty sick. See, and go back, clear myself some space. Inscribed polygon. Inscribed polygon basically measures from the center to the corner, so the farthest part, which, and you can do the same, set how many sides you want. It's pretty sick. It's very, very useful for like making bolts that you want to 3D print. If you want to like make your own box or something like that. That's pretty sick. And then you have edge polygon, which if you're like, I want a polygon with a 1 inch side, for instance. Actually, was that 1 inch? I don't know. But you can then set the side, or how many sides you want, and there you go. It's pretty sick. If you want an inefficient way to make a square, there it is. That's really useful, especially if you want like a set, distance for the side. And the next one is an ellipse. And an ellipse, when you make an ellipse, you first set the length of the ellipse, and then you can set the width of the ellipse afterwards. So be careful, because when I started this sketch, I started from the center, and as I went out, the other side went out as well. So if you want to start it from right here, you can't. So just be careful when you use that. For the sake of this video, these are really complex slots and splines, so I'll be putting those off to another video. I will show you conic curves, which are pretty complex, and these two real quick. All right, let's take a look at conic curves. So conic curves are weird. What you do is let's do so you set 2 points first, and then you set where the vertex is. So kind of weird, but afterwards you can then set the tangency constraint, which can make it really pointy or like really flat. So you kind of got like a, kind of close to the top, like a hyperbolic kind of curve. Then you have like a parabolic, and then you have a elliptical kind of thing. So, that can help, depending on, I don't really know what you use that for. Anyways, so the next thing is a point, which points are useful. Basically, you can make a point anywhere on the grid, we'll call it. Specifically, it could help with, like, hey, say you want to make a line like straight through it. Well, you can get a point and go, hey, once you see the triangle and the X, by the way, that means it's like the center of the line. So if I make a point there and make another point right there, and I can just connect the dots then. 1, 2, done. Simple. So that's pretty easy. So points are helpful when you want like to draw a line from like a specific point on a surface, or you just want to define some point that's like in a weird position. And the last thing to note is text, which, yes, you can actually put text into your sketch. So how this works is that say you want to like you're 3D printing something, and you want the letter to actually be like embedded into the 3D print. Well, this is how you do it. So just click, wherever you want. You can move it with the center mark, and I'm just gonna put like hello or something like that. So maybe it's too big, so we can come over here to height and actually change it, which that is equivalent to font size in Fusion. So just keep that in mind. It makes sense too, because you can set like its actual height, so as a measurement. So that's pretty cool. You can set the angle with either by doing by clicking the blue circle and moving it, or you can change it over here as well. So if I want it to be like -20, it changes over here. You can also set the text, text style or the font, or you can even flip it or vertical flip it. So you can do all that crazy stuff with it, which is pretty sick. And after you're done with your sketches or with whatever you're 3D modeling, you always have to make sure to save. Even sometimes they'll do it for you, but to ensure that everything is saved, click the save button. It definitely helps and has saved me a couple of times. So, yeah. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening in. And I'll see you in the next video, where we'll talk about how to extrude and actually create 3D models. All right. Thank you for watching. See you guys later.